it is devastating, and we are speaking indeed on the 80th commemoration of the liberation of Auschwitz. And I'm speaking to you a few meters away from the place in which the Wannsee conference took place, in which the final solution for the Jewish problem was actually created by 15 men who gathered, most of them lawyers, many of them holding doctorates. The understanding that the never again principle, the pledge to never again, for us to be able to uphold that, it is insufficient to remember what happened that enabled the atrocities of the Shoah, but in fact, it is imperative that we understand how it happened so that we can prevent it, so that never again, the prospect of commitment, never again in the future. It's not enough to remember the past, which we must. We must be able to identify the threats of the present to prevent the recurrence of atrocities in the future, precisely the atrocities that occurred on October the 7th. The very same anti-Semitism as defined by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance that fueled the war crimes and crimes against humanity, including the abduction that continues to hold hostage all of those abducted on that day, and actually some of them held in 10.5 years of a standing violation of international law. That is what we must commit when we say that pledge, that prospective commitment of never again. For that, we must identify this strain of anti-Semitism, that is anti-Zionism, that denies Israel's right to exist. That's what October the 7th was to sound the sirens on, including the tsunami of anti-Semitism around the world. And that's what we will be discussing tomorrow. And perhaps one final point, Benita, because we are marking 80 years and it is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. It is the Holocaust itself that has been hijacked and weaponized to fuel this strain of anti-Semitism that demonizes and delegitimizes and applies double standards to the state of Israel, the proverbial Jew among the nations, alleging that it is perpetrating a Holocaust even as it defends itself from genocidal terror proxies and regimes. And that is what explains what we saw, including last night in Ireland, with the president using the memory of the Holocaust, and in Poland with marches and protests against the gathering of the never again. And that's what makes it clear that this indeed is a never again is now moment.
President Isaac Herzog just a short while ago was addressing the United Nations, saying Israel is anguished and incomplete without the return of every hostage in Gaza. The oldest hostage in captivity right now is himself a Holocaust survivor, Shlomo Mansour. You say never again, and look at this reality right now in Gaza.
So you're 100% right that Shlomo Mansour, like my own grandparents, is actually a survivor of the Farhud in Iraq, which in many, many cases people are not even aware of the 850,000 Jews who were ethnically cleansed, among them Shlomo Mansour's family from Arab lands and of Iran. And in that sense, it is never again, if it is to have any meaning at all, will become insufficient to just remember, as I said, what it is that happened, and becomes imperative to understand how it is that it can happen again and again. Without understanding the mechanism of the mutation of anti-Semitism, without identifying all of its strains using the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition, as I've said in my meetings today here with legislators, with university presidents, without identifying all strains of what is an ancient, shape-shifting, lethal virus that fueled, that enabled, that normalized regular people to commit the atrocities of the Holocaust. Too terrible to imagine, but not too terrible to have happened. We will fail in our shared commitment of never again.
We've seen an alarming spike in anti-Semitism in several parts of the globe since October 7th. We wait to see the outcome of the conference that you are going to be attending and addressing in Berlin. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Michal Cotler-Wunsh, Israel's Special Envoy for Combating Anti-Semitism, joining us from Berlin. Thank you.